I'm not sure where to begin, but I'll start with the truth. It's been 3 months since I stumbled upon a thread that would change my life forever. A thread on Reddit, of all places. The title read, Top 5 Fearsome Internet Mysteries, and it seemed like just another attempt at sensationalizing online weirdness. But something about it drew me in. Maybe it was the cryptic post from Echo One, a user who claimed to have uncovered connections between seemingly unrelated threads across the internet. Or maybe it was the eerie feeling that I wasn't alone in my curiosity. Whatever it was, I had to know more. I started digging, and what I found sent shivers down my spine. It began with a few scattered posts on obscure subreddits, each one hinting at an underlying theme. A thread about the cursed 2600 Hz audio frequency. Another about the unsettling world of creepypasta artists who claim to be inspired by the supernatural. The threads were sparse and fragmented, but there was something unnerving about them. It was as if Echo One had left breadcrumbs for me to follow, leading deeper into the dark underbelly of the internet. And then, just yesterday, I stumbled upon an entry that made my heart skip a beat. A post from Echo One, titled The First Sign, which read, It started with a single comment on a video game forum. A user claimed to have seen a figure in their peripheral vision tall, imposing, and impossibly pale. The rest of the thread erupted into chaos, but I knew it was just the beginning. I spent the next few days scouring Reddit for any mention of Echo One's post. It wasn't until I stumbled upon a thread on our internet urban legends that I found it. A discussion about an obscure forum called Fearsome that had been taken down by the site administrators months ago. The forum was rumored to have been created by a group of former college students who had become obsessed with exploring the darker corners of the internet. They claimed to have delved deep into the world of online horror and supernatural phenomena, and their findings were said to be nothing short of disturbing. I spent hours researching Fearsome, trying to piece together what had happened to it. Some claimed that the forum was a hub for like-minded individuals who shared their own tales of paranormal activity, while others whispered about a sinister force that lurked in the shadows, manipulating users into sharing their darkest fears. I couldn't shake the feeling that Echo One's post was connected to Fearsome, and I became fixated on uncovering more information about the forum and its mysterious creators. It wasn't until I stumbled upon an old archived copy of the forum that I discovered a cryptic message scrawled on the wall of one of the discussion threads. The eyes are always watching. I shivered as I read the words, feeling like I was being watched by something unseen. And then, just as I was about to leave the thread, I noticed it. A comment from Echo One, posted hours after their initial message. It read, I see you found the eyes. I was browsing through the various threads on our internet urban legends when I stumbled upon Echo One's post. It was dated hours ago, but it felt like a lifetime had passed since then. The title read, The Eyes in the Code, and it was a simple message. I've found it. I know what we're all looking for. There were no words beyond that, just an image of a code snippet that looked eerily familiar to me. I couldn't shake the feeling that Echo One had somehow accessed my own browsing history, but at the same time, I felt a sense of vindication, as if someone was finally listening to my whispers in the dark. The post sent shockwaves through the community, with users scrambling to understand the significance of the code snippet. Some claimed it was just a clever prank, while others spoke of an ancient language that held secrets to the supernatural. I watched in awe as Echo One's post accumulated thousands of upvotes and comments, each one fueling the fire of speculation and curiosity. And then, something strange happened. The comments began to change. They started with benign jokes and memes, but soon took a darker turn. Users began sharing their own stories of paranormal activity, each one hinting at an underlying theme. It was as if Echo One's post had unleashed a wave of collective hysteria, drawing in like-minded individuals from all corners of the internet. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I scrolled through the comments. And then, just as suddenly, everything went quiet. The upvotes stopped rising, the comments ceased to flow, and the community was left staring at Echo One's enigmatic post with a mix of confusion and trepidation. It was as if the thread had tapped into a deep well of collective fascination. One by one, users began to share their own stories and theories about Echo One's post. Some claimed to have seen similar code snippets in old video games or programming languages, while others spoke of ancient myths and legends that seemed to echo the message. The discussion was getting more and more heated, with some users accusing others of being trolls or trying to stir up drama. I watched as the thread went from 1,000 views to 10,000 in a matter of hours, and then to hundreds of thousands. It was like a snowball effect, gathering speed and momentum as it rolled down the Reddit homepage. The comments were becoming increasingly personal, with users sharing their own dark pasts and fears. I felt like I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare, unable to look away from the chaos unfolding before me. And then, something strange happened. Echo One began to respond. Not directly, but through a series of cryptic messages that seemed to be woven into the very fabric of the thread. It was as if they were playing a game of cat and mouse with the community, leading them deeper down the rabbit hole. The posts came at regular intervals, always leaving just enough ambiguity to keep the discussion going. "The eyes are always watching," one post read. "But who is looking?" another asked. The questions seemed to be designed to unsettle, to make the users question their own perceptions of reality. I felt like I was losing my grip on sanity, but at the same time, I couldn't look away from the spectacle unfolding before me. The thread had become a living, breathing thing with Echo One at its center, and I knew that I was not alone in feeling this way. There were others out there, lurking in the shadows, watching and waiting for their turn to strike. I knew I had to take a chance and venture into the dark web if I wanted to uncover Echo One's true intentions. The Reddit thread was getting more and more out of control, with users becoming increasingly paranoid and hostile towards each other. I felt like I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare, unable to escape the chaos that seemed to be closing in around me. So, I took a deep breath and clicked on the link that would take me down the rabbit hole. The site was called Erebus, and it looked like something out of a horror movie. The URL was cryptic, with symbols and codes that seemed to shift and change as I hovered over them. I knew I had to be careful, one wrong move, and I could end up getting caught in the trap. But I was determined to uncover the truth about Echo One. I navigated through the site's twisted corridors, avoiding the various traps and pitfalls that seemed designed to keep me from reaching my goal. The further I went, the more disturbing the content became. There were images of grotesque creatures, eerie landscapes, and cryptic messages that seemed to be addressed directly to me. It was like I was being herded towards some unknown fate with no way out. And then I saw it, a message from Echo One, posted on a page titled The Observer. "You're getting close," it read, "but are you ready for what's waiting for you?" The words sent shivers down my spine, and I knew that I had to be careful. What did Echo One want from me? And what was this waiting that they spoke of? I felt like I was standing on the edge of a precipice, staring into the abyss. But I couldn't look away, I had to know the truth. As I delved deeper into the dark web, I started to notice a pattern emerging between seemingly unrelated threads. It was as if Echo One was hinting at a larger conspiracy, one that spanned far beyond the Reddit forum. The threads were all about strange symbols, cryptic messages, and eerie images. At first, I thought it was just a bunch of random nonsense, but then I started to notice the connections. Thread A mentioned an ancient myth about a creature known as the Devourer. Thread B talked about a mysterious coding language that seemed to be used by hackers. And Thread C, well, Thread C was just a simple image of a clock ticking away. But when I looked closer, I saw it. The clock had a strange symbol etched into its face, the same symbol that appeared in every other thread. It was as if Echo One was trying to tell me something, but what? I started to feel a creeping sense of dread as I realized that this pattern might be more than just a coincidence. It might be a warning or even a message. But from whom? And what did they want me to know? As I continued to follow the threads, I began to notice other connections, a string of seemingly unrelated posts about strange occurrences and unexplained events. It was as if Echo One was hinting at something much bigger than myself. Something that threatened to consume everything in its path. And then, just as I thought things couldn't get any stranger, I saw it. A single post from an anonymous user with a message that made my blood run cold. "The pattern is clear," it read. "Meet me at the old clock tower at midnight if you want to uncover the truth." I spent the next few days digging deeper into the connections between Reddit and other online communities. I joined various forums and social media groups, searching for any mention of Echo One or similar threads. What I found was unsettling. It seemed that Echo One's message had resonated with others, and they too were seeking answers. Some claimed to have received similar messages, while others spoke of strange occurrences in their own lives, feelings of being watched, unexplained noises in the night, and an overall sense of unease. I started to feel like I was part of a larger experiment, one that Echo One had somehow orchestrated. The connections between threads grew stronger, and I began to see patterns emerge that seemed almost deliberate. It was as if someone or something was trying to communicate with me, but in a language I couldn't quite decipher. I started to notice that some of the same symbols and codes kept popping up, often in seemingly unrelated posts. It was then that I stumbled upon a thread from a user named Spectre, who claimed to have been involved in a secret organization that had been monitoring online activity for years. According to Spectre, Echo One's message was just the tip of the iceberg, a warning sign that something much larger was about to unfold. The post sparked a flurry of discussion, with many users sharing their own stories and theories. It was then that I saw it, a hidden link in one of the comments, leading to a private forum where users could discuss the topic further. I hesitated for a moment before clicking on the link. What would I find there? The forum was password protected, but Spectre had left a cryptic clue that hinted at the answer. The answer lies in the shadows. I entered the code and the door swung open. What I found inside made my blood run cold. As I delved deeper into the private forum, I began to experience strange and terrifying occurrences. It was as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling around me. I started to notice that the symbols and codes that had been scattered throughout my research were now appearing in my own home. At first, it was just small things. A symbol etched into the wall, a code hidden in the pattern on my rug. But soon, the occurrences grew more frequent and more intense. I would find myself standing in front of a door, only to realize that there was no door there. Or I would hear whispers in my ear, urging me to do things that made no sense. It was as if Echo One had unleashed some kind of madness upon me, and I was powerless to stop it. I started to question my own sanity. Was I really seeing these things, or was it just my imagination playing tricks on me? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that something was very wrong. The symbols and codes were not just random. They were a message, a warning that seemed to be getting clearer by the minute. And then, one night, I received a package in the mail. It was a small box with no return address, and inside I found a single phrase etched into a piece of paper. "The answer is not what you think it is." Suddenly, everything clicked into place. The symbols, the codes, the whispers, it all made sense. But what did it mean? And who was behind it all? As I delved deeper into the mystery of Echo 1, I started to receive cryptic messages that seemed to hold secrets. The messages were always accompanied by mysterious symbols that looked like they belonged in an ancient book of spells. At first, I thought it was just a prank, but as I received more and more messages, I realized that something much more sinister was at play. The messages themselves were always brief and enigmatic, but they seemed to be getting more personal with each passing day. They would speak directly to me, using my name and referencing events from my past. It was as if Echo 1 had somehow infiltrated my life, monitoring my every move and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. But it was the symbols that really caught my attention. They looked like nothing I had ever seen before, twisted shapes and patterns that seemed to shift and writhe on the page like living things. I tried to decipher their meaning, but they remained a mystery even after hours of study. One message read, "The shadow in the mirror is not what it seems." Another said, "The key is hidden in plain sight." And then there was the one that sent chills down my spine. "You are being watched and soon you will be found." I tried to brush off the messages as mere paranoia, but deep down, I knew they were more than just pranks. They were a warning, a threat, or something even more sinister. And so, I continued to follow the trail of symbols and codes, determined to uncover the truth behind Echo 1's mysterious messages. But with each new discovery, I felt myself becoming more and more entrenched in a world of madness and terror. The lines between reality and fantasy began to blur, and I started to wonder if I would ever be able to escape the grip of Echo 1. As I continued to follow the trail of symbols and codes, I stumbled upon an eerie connection to my own past. A name, a date, and a location that seemed to be connected to Echo 1's mysterious messages. My heart racing, I began to dig deeper, uncovering a web of secrets and lies that led me to a shocking revelation. The name, Eleanor, was etched into the wall of my childhood home, a place where I had spent countless hours as a child. It was as if Echo 1 knew me better than I knew myself. The date, October 13th, marked the anniversary of my own birthday, a day that had always been shrouded in mystery and unease. And the location, an abandoned asylum on the outskirts of town, seemed to be the epicenter of Echo 1's sinister plans. It was as if I had been led back to this place, to confront the dark forces that lurked within its crumbling walls. As I delved deeper into the mystery, I began to realize that Echo 1's true intentions were far more personal than I could have ever imagined. The messages, the symbols, the codes, they were all leading me down a twisted path of self-discovery, one that would force me to confront my own demons and face the darkness within. And then, just as I thought I had reached the end of the trail, I received a message that chilled me to the bone. "You are not who you think you are, Eleanor. You have been searching for yourself your entire life." As I stood at the entrance of the abandoned asylum, I steeled myself for what was to come. The message from Echo 1 had been clear. This was my destiny, my purpose. But as I stepped into the darkness, I couldn't shake off the feeling that I was walking into a trap. The air was thick with the scent of decay and rot, and the shadows seemed to writhe and twist on the walls like living things. I called out, my voice echoing off the cold stone, "Echo 1, is this you?" There was no response, but suddenly the lights flickered to life, illuminating a figure in the distance. As I drew closer, I saw that it was an old woman, her face twisted with age and malice. She beckoned me forward, her eyes gleaming with a malevolent light. "Welcome, Eleanor," she croaked. "I've been waiting for you." And then it hit me, the truth about Echo One's true intentions. The messages, the symbols, the codes, they were all part of an experiment, a test to see if I was worthy. But what did it mean? What did Echo One want from me? As I watched, the old woman began to change, her body contorting and twisting until she was no longer human. She was a machine, a device created by some unknown entity to manipulate and control. And then it clicked. Echo One was not a person, but a program designed to test my limits, push me to the edge of sanity. I stumbled backward, horror creeping up my spine as I realized that I had been playing into their hands all along. The world around me began to distort, the shadows deepening and twisting until it seemed like reality itself was unraveling. I tried to run, but my feet felt heavy, as if rooted to the spot. And then, in an instant, everything went black. As I regained consciousness, I found myself back in my own bed, the events of the past few days feeling like a distant memory. But something was off. The room seemed different, the shadows cast by the faint light of dawn twisted and distorted. And then I saw it, a message on my phone from an unknown number. "The loop continues," it read. I tried to shake off the feeling of unease, telling myself it was just a prank. But as I went about my day, I couldn't shake off the sense that something was off. Every step I took felt like déjà vu. Every conversation with someone new felt like a repetition of the same old dialogue. And then I saw her, the old woman from the asylum, standing in front of me with an unsettling smile. "Welcome to the loop," she said. "You'll never escape." As I watched, the world around me began to distort and twist, the buildings melting like wax in a furnace. The sky turned a deep shade of crimson, the stars twinkling like diamonds in the void. And then everything went black once more. When I woke up again, I was back in my own bed, the message on my phone still flashing on the screen. "The loop continues," it read. I knew then that I was trapped, caught in an endless cycle of madness and terror. The world outside was a twisted reflection of my own mind, a labyrinth of corridors and doors leading nowhere. And I was just another prisoner, forever doomed to relive the same horrors over and over again. The last thing I saw before everything went black was the old woman's face, her eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. "You'll never escape," she whispered. And then everything went dark.